Is Ferrari's mini revival the real thing, or is this just going to be another annoying false dawn for F1's most famous team? Back-to-back poles and a first win of the season, ending Red Bull's perfect record in 2023, mark a hell of a turnaround for a team that looked like it was going nowhere just a few weeks ago and admitted it's designing a very different car for 2024. What's behind Ferrari's current form and whether it is real will influence the rest of this season and could be a sign of things to come for next year too. Carlos Sainz's Singapore win was a bit more of a surprise than the team's pole-claiming, podium-scoring Italian Grand Prix weekend because Ferrari has been more competitive at low downforce levels this season and prioritised its home race with a proper low-drag package. So at Monza, Ferrari gave itself every chance of doing well. But then you have to remember that Ferrari has also had its moments on street tracks already this year too. Charles Leclerc was on pole in Azerbaijan and a tenth away from doing the same in Monaco. The SF23 seems to like the two most extreme scenarios, low downforce and hardly any corners, and high downforce with lots of short corners requiring quick changes of direction and good curb riding. In short, Singapore had everything the Ferrari likes, and nothing of what it doesn't, long corners, wind and fluctuating track temperatures for example. With that in mind, leading the way while Red Bull had a genuinely difficult weekend was well within the range of Ferrari's wild positional swings in the pecking order this season. Ferrari team boss Fred Vasseur alluded to this when he said that whatever step Ferrari may have made, it's maybe worth half a tenth in qualifying, and has not exactly transformed the pecking order. Ferrari was, after all, still in contention with Mercedes and McLaren this weekend, not miles in the clear. So was it all just one perfect storm of good? Well, yeah, kind of. But while Ferrari surprised itself by setting the pace outright in Singapore, the team wasn't exactly treating it as a bolt from the blue. The performance came amid mildly rising hopes for next year, and the fact Ferrari was at the top end of its performance potential just a few weeks after probably its worst race of the season at another high downforce track in Zandvoort suggests some meaningful progress really might have been made. Ferrari said it would have been difficult at Zandvoort to imagine being in such good shape in Singapore. So what changed? It looks like some key lessons from Zandvoort and then Monza, with very different downforce levels at play, guided Ferrari to a setup direction that meant the car balance was very strong from the start in Singapore. Charles Leclerc called it a change of approach, while Sainz, who we will get to in more detail later, has also made a key step in his own pre-weekend preparation too, and was on it from basically the first flying lap in Italy, then in Singapore. It helped Ferrari hit the ground running at these races and benefit from the circumstances that also played to the car's strengths and mitigated its weaknesses. There was no magic bullet. All of this combines with how Ferrari has been trying desperately to chip away its aerodynamic deficiencies and inconsistent performance since basically realising in Saudi Arabia, the second race of the season, just how bad things could be. If you want to make one good step in F1, then as Vasseur put it, you have to make tons of small ones. All of this begs the question, what did Ferrari do at Zandvoort and what did it learn? Ferrari said it sacrificed FP1 to conduct some experiments with the view to understanding the discrepancy between its high and low downforce performance to collect data and try to fix it. We've heard two key theories around this. One is that Ferrari found something in its mechanical setup, like its suspension, to settle the car down and neutralise the unpredictably leery rear end that both drivers, especially Leclerc, have complained about a lot this season. We'll come to how it may have impacted the balance of power between the drivers later, but Ferrari has dialed in some understeer to quell the worst of the rear instability without having to sacrifice much outright performance. The other theory relates to Ferrari's sole upgrade in Singapore. The one small change on the car was a reprofiled front wing flap that Ferrari said wasn't specific to that circuit and part of the standard development cycle, with the aim to improve car efficiency over an extended aero balance range. That final part could be quite telling, as it's been suggested to us that at Zandvoort, Ferrari discovered its higher downforce beam wing created too much understeer that it couldn't balance out with its existing front wing. That meant returning to a lower downforce rear wing, inviting more rear instability, especially through longer corners. If so, then green lighting an extended aero balance range on the front may be the solution to that, allowing Ferrari to run with more downforce at the rear because it has the necessary load at the front to counter it. Performances like Ferrari's in Singapore are never down to one thing, but the fact there has been back-to-back poles and improved races on two very different circuits at least suggests Ferrari has got a better handle on its car even when tracks have contrasting requirements. Maybe a better mechanical platform and a steadier, stronger aerodynamic balance means Ferrari is finally making good on extracting the SF23's full performance, something it has done in patches this season but never managed consistently. The potential in the car is a totem that Ferrari has often clung to when dissecting its 2023 shortcomings. Maybe this is just the long overdue realisation of that. It seems likely that if Ferrari returned to Zandvoort and ran the Dutch GP weekend again with this car and understanding as it had in Italy and Singapore, then it would struggle less. But would it be transformative? That feels a stretch. The Ferrari still looked vulnerable to the Mercedes and even the McLaren in race trim in Singapore, so its tyre management does still have a question mark against it. We're also yet to see any evidence the SF23 is better at dealing with crosswinds, better at longer corners where the brake pressure and steering lock trade-off is more pronounced, better at coping with track temperatures rising or falling between sessions. Suzuka will be an acid test of whether those inherent limitations remain, as will some more races beyond it, so it would be premature to assume that Ferrari is now a pole contender at every track, let alone going to fight for more wins. And this could easily become another false dawn for Ferrari, which has persistently under-delivered for a long time. Maybe it will herald a breakthrough no more than it symbolises the frustrating topsy-turviness of Ferrari's season and how hard it is to predict whether this car will be any good at any given track. But the idea of a regular challenge emerging for Red Bull is alluring, so let's let ourselves dream. Given Leclerc is widely regarded as the quicker of the Ferrari duo, even if Sainz is plenty fast enough and has shown at the last two races that he is capable of being the fastest of all when the conditions are right, why is it Sainz who has emerged as the main threat? Sainz has been on top of this car in a way he never really was with its predecessor in 2022, is driving very well this season and used the summer break to drill into some details with his engineering team that meant he has been able to start weekends more on the front foot since Zandvoort. Despite the trials and tribulations for Ferrari this season, Sainz is definitely in a good place right now. So why isn't Leclerc? This is a bit of an oversimplification, but what it all boils down to is that the Ferrari has become a slightly better sorted car while still having some nasty aerodynamic traits. The rear instability this can trigger means the car lives on a knife edge on certain tracks, with Zandvoort being a great example. In certain conditions, Leclerc can be devastatingly fast in this car, but he can also be the car that it punishes more. Either Leclerc strays over the limit and shunts, or he drives within himself because judging where the line is becomes too difficult to risk. Sainz might not have looked quite so sensational at times before the summer break, but he had generally straddled the line better, and now he's clicked with the SF23 in a way that Leclerc's clearly struggling to, partly because of the changes Ferrari has made. Having only been the lead Ferrari in qualifying 4 times before the August break, Sainz's Saturday form has been much improved and has been at the heart of his recent success. At Zandvoort, while Leclerc struggled with the lack of balance and drivability of the Ferrari, Sainz grabbed the car by the scruff of the neck and put it 6th on the grid. In both Italy and Singapore, Sainz had a slender qualifying advantage over Leclerc and earned a track position advantage that would prove crucial. The explanation for this lies partly in the car characteristics. Ferrari made getting on top of the car's inconsistency and instability a priority after the break, and it has led to a certain amount of understeer being dialed in. That's something that plays against Leclerc and works well with Sainz's style, and Sainz's form in a car that doesn't suit Leclerc's own style is forcing Leclerc to delve more into adapting his technique. If he sets the car up to have a little oversteer, which is what he would normally prefer, it's simply too unpredictable to control given Ferrari's aero inconsistencies, whereas the understeer has a calming effect and is therefore the best compromise for now. As a result of how this manifested itself in Singapore qualifying, Leclerc had to dutifully play the support role and did so very effectively. Some might feel he was hard done by, having to sacrifice his own optimum race to make a key contribution to the team's overall result, but by his own admission, Leclerc left himself in that situation by underachieving in qualifying. Without Leclerc completely buying into the team game, Ferrari may well not have won that race with Sainz, but it's down to Leclerc to up his game and make sure if another opportunity arises, he's the man leading the charge rather than being reduced to being a rear gunner.